Good evening, gentlemen, distinguished guests, honorable faculty members, and my dear cadets. It is my very great honor to welcome you to this auspicious occasion. With great pride and profound gratitude, we begin this ceremony. This evening, we have been graciously blessed by the presence of two incredible personalities, Sir David Green and Sir Mahfooz-ur-Rehman. Sir, thank you so much for gracing this occasion. May I request you to join us here on stage, please.
Assalamu alaikum again, gentlemen. I am really privileged today to make this introduction. You may like to see what we have here is a teacher par excellence, a mentor, someone who had taught my uncle once he was here, and who taught me, and then my cousins, and onwards, and so on and so forth. And he is not only iconic, but a legend in himself. And if we had like gone maybe about 200, 300 years back, you know, we have this habit of having people as peers and all that. So probably at that time he would be Sir Professor Peer Mahfooz-ur-Rehman, because he already has that status right now. He served here for a long time, but more than that, this service, he has been instrumental in positively impacting the personalities of the boys, and to such an extent that he wouldn't remember. Since I am his student, I remember that. And he had come. A teacher is someone who imparts part of his personality onto the student. And I am someone, and I have seen so many others who have picked up one or the other thing from him and are doing that. So he had spent a long time here and retired as the Vice Principal, Cadet College, Hassan Abdal, and has been on the Board of Governors for almost more than 6 years now. Yesterday, because of his meritorious services to the field of education, he was conferred upon with the Satara Imtiaz by the President of Pakistan. And today he's going to be interviewed by Sir David Green, who was an English teacher in Cadet College Hassan Abdal in 1967-68. There is this voluntary service organization which used to send out teachers to work in different parts of the country and the world, and we were lucky enough to have him here along with some other people. He arrived here about a year before Sir Mahfooz-ur-Rehman did, but they became good friends, and that friendship is lasting till now. And they have kept up with each other for the last 50 years. Sir David Green, I consider a friend of Cadet College Hassan Abdal. He has a following of Abdalians, not only here, but abroad also. And for the last 2 years or so, I've been trying to set up something which I call the Abdalian Association of the United Kingdom. And he's instrumental in getting the boys together. The boys, I mean the old boys, now old men as far as you are concerned, and guiding them. So not only a friend to Mr. Mahfooz-ur-Rehman, but to us, to our alma mater also. He has been Director General of the worldwide of the British Council, and also has been Director of the VSOs, the Voluntary Service Organization, like I mentioned it earlier. So it is fitting that he's going to interview Mahfooz-ur-Rehman Sahib about his life and discuss issues related to education and leadership. And I'm really looking forward to it. Sir David Green, sir.
Principal, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Assalamu alaikum. And I'm going to go straight into my interview with Mahfooz-ur-Rehman. And I'm going to interview him for about 40 minutes or so. And then I'm going to offer you the opportunity to ask questions. So I'm going to start straight away from when you were born. You were born on the 20th of September, 1940, in Aligarh. And I'd like you to start by telling us about your family, your siblings, and what life was like when you were a small child.
I was born at Aligarh to a family of 6 siblings. I was 4th. My father was an official in the landlords. He was a manager of a landlord in Aligarh, Muzammirullah Khan Sahab. And we had a very good family. My father was a very loving but a strict man, and my mother was a very fine lady. I never saw her angry with anybody. And even she died here in Hassan Abdal in 1998. So we were a happy family, and we were groomed by our parents very well. And after that, I am lucky I got best teachers in my whole student life.
I met Mahfooz-ur-Rehman's sister yesterday, and I was trying to get her to tell me stories about Mahfooz when he was a young boy and how he was so terrible to her, but she wouldn't. And she said he was always kind to her.
And he thought I had bribed her to that.
So I'm going to show your parents. Your father was Habibur-Rahman, and Sohiba Khanum is your mother, and we've got them on the screen now. What were your first memories of school?
The first day when I went to the school, I cried the whole day. I see now in Narowal, I see quite a few students crying on the first day. And even here, when you come in 8th class, you also feel homesick. And we have to, as a housemaster, I had to look after so many people. So first day, I cried the whole day. But something happened, I don't know what. From second day onwards, I very happily went to the school. And my mother tells me that after 3 or 4 days, I came back from school, and I told my mother that I wish to marry my teacher. You know, she was a beautiful lady, a Hindu lady. I couldn't possibly marry her, but that was my wish. So I always tell the teachers that this is the relationship between a teacher and a student. All students, you cadets and the teachers sitting here, they must realize it's a two-way traffic. You teach us, we teach you. So, and it is a relationship of love. Unless you are confident that the man teaching you is right, and he is affectionate, he is loving, you cannot learn anything from him. I have examples throughout my life. So, if you want to marry your teacher, that's the best part. And that's from where I started my studies.
Your family moved to from Aligarh at the time of partition in 1947, which was obviously a very traumatic time for the subcontinent. Have you got any memories of that time?
Oh,
you were about 7, I think.
Great memories.
And why did the family move to Gujranwala?
You see, partition took place 1947. We stayed back in India for some time. Then we migrated. And my brother-in-law was already in Gujranwala. He was an excise inspector, government servant, and he had opted for Pakistan. So we came to Pakistan and we settled in Gujranwala. But those were difficult times. We never saw any ray of hope. I was a boy, and we used to think that it's just a matter of few days and we'll die. It will all be finished. But let me share with you, the people of Gujranwala treated us as the people of Medina treated people of Makkah. The same way. And I'm really pained to see the conditions today. Everybody is blaming others. People in Gujranwala, they gave us everything. This was the spirit at that time. And we have got to bring it back. Otherwise, we are going nowhere. So, those people at that time, they had no biases. The only thing that we were Mahajar, we were refugees. I was buying something from a shop, and the shopkeeper asked me, "Are you Mahajare?" In Punjabi, he asked me, "Mahajare?" Yes, ji. You know, after weighing that thing, he put something more into. So that was the spirit. We have to bring that spirit back. And really, I always pray to Almighty that whatever I saw at the time of partition, my next generation, please spare my generations not to experience that. Those were really very bad days. You cannot even imagine what we went through at the time of partition.
Yeah. Now, you matriculated from the Model High School in
Yes,
Gujranwala.
I matriculated from Gujranwala AD Model High School. Then my elder brother, who was a teacher, after matric, I joined a service for 80 rupees per month and 6 rupees atta allowance. I was a clerk. And I sent my brother to Central Training College, Lahore for his B.Ed, Bachelor in Education. When he completed his degree, he got a very good job at the Cantonment Public School, Peshawar. And we all moved to Peshawar, and I joined Edwards College in 1959 in first year.
And you've often said that was the best experience
That was
of your
the
life.
best experience of my life after Hassan Abdal. Best experience. I was dealing with 6 nationalities. Our principal was an Australian, Dr. Phil Edmonds. My biology teacher was a New Zealander. He was a very tall man, Mr. Garfield Pierce. I still remember his name. He was very tall, taller than Dave. And we used to call him Father Daddy Long Legs. आपने भी टीचर्स के नाम रखे हुए होंगे वैसे. Maybe I was also called Mr. Chips when I was here. This is the right of a student to nickname teachers. It's your right, but please be careful about it. So, the best teacher I got was my English teacher. He was of my age. As I am 83, he was about 80 at that time when he was teaching us. He was such a fine teacher. I still remember the poem Daffodils. He taught us daffodils. And the whole class, he took us to those meadows where the daffodils were swaying and swinging. And I have yet to meet a teacher who could teach daffodils better than him. So I cherish those memories because, let me tell you, we are living in one culture. That's not a good experience. That is why we are fighting with each other. If you live in a multicultural society, nothing like that. People of different colors, people of different thinking, people of different religions, you come across. So in Edwards College, I had the best experience of my life as a boy. I was, as I told you, there were Britishers, there were Irish people, there was Scotland, Mr. Brindle, our physics teacher. So that was a great experience.
You mentioned Mr. Chips, Mahfooz, and I should tell you that Mr. Chips was actually a teacher from the school I went to. And the person who wrote the book, Goodbye, Mr. Chips, which some of you may have seen, was a man called James Hilton, who was an alumnus of the Lee School in Cambridge. And Mr. Chips was a remarkable man and very, very charismatic. But it's not goodbye, Mr. Chips, to you yet. What made you study science, and in particular botany?
It was a fashion at that time.
Well, you don't follow fashion.
I don't follow fashion, but I thought I could do better as a science student. And although I was very much interested in literature because of Mr. I.R. Walker, and I still read a lot, but now I'm reading more about human behavior and how to mentor children, the students. I'm finished with novels, etc. Fiction I don't read nowadays. But I read a lot of fiction, all Hardy novels and Charles Dickens and Bronte sisters and Dumas, just to name few.
And Mahfooz, tell us a little bit more about your time at Peshawar University, and not just the academic study. What did you do apart from academic studies?